For those of you who haven't watched the other videos in my series, this is my polycarbonate hot and cold bender. It does work. I made it myself, and it works as both a cold plastic brake and even a metal brake, and as a hot bender or a hot brake. So you can bend plastic very much like this one. So you can see it bended into a Z, and you can get pretty straight lines, and those lines are pretty clean. There's some bubbling at the ends, which I think is going to be pretty normal for anything I do. But hey, I can use that. I can start making my handguards and some windshields, and that's really going to work out great. So I just plugged it in. I'm going to show you how it works. There's two power clips. There's one there and one here. Positive and negative doesn't matter because it'll work either way. Take the clips, hook it onto either terminal. Okay, now I got some sparking going on over there at the spring, but you can see the heating element has just gotten hot, so you can see the brightness in there. That's going to allow you to slip a piece of polycarbonate in there, and in 1 minute and 10 seconds that polycarbonate will be ready to bend. Slide it out and bend it, and you'll get something like this. I'm going to shut that off right now. I'm going to unplug it, and I'm going to remove the clips from either end. So I'm going to unplug. You can see the light goes out, so it's not going to be hot in a few seconds. And then for safety, you remove the clip. So hey, this is design testing. I haven't really hooked it up permanently yet, but it works. Hey, this is fabulous. Let me show you how I did it, how I finalized it, how I aligned the heating element using some insulation, right? And let's have some fun with this video. I want to say, hey everybody, I just did my first hot bend. It really came out pretty good. You have to use your senses when you're working with this. You're going to see a slight bubbling on the end there on the left. I don't know if you can see that, but it's a pretty clean bend. It's nice and clear and not distorted. Really pretty good under the circumstances. Use your nose. If you smell something burning, if you smell the plastic off-gassing, pull the plastic away from the element and begin to bend it, and you'll find that it does a pretty good job. That's not half bad. Now I'm leaving the unit running for now, which is fine. There's a couple tricks to this. One, getting the piece square, and the other is timing it right, which is about a minute. So with this glow, you want about a 60-second wait time before bending the plastic. What I'm doing is I'm setting my timer on my phone for about 45 seconds because I have a pretty good idea as to when this is going to get hot enough. Start moving things away so that I can keep the area clear. And we're going to do a wider bend this time. We're going to do it on this side of the triangle, the long side. And we're going to see how clean that gets. This is a little contaminated. There's a little glue on there or something. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to slide it into a certain spot, and then we're going to hit start. So 45 seconds roughly, and we're going to use our senses. We're going to look for bubbling, and we're going to smell for any off-gassing of the polycarbonate. And we're going to see if we can get a 90-degree bend out of that that's fairly clean. We're watching the timer very carefully. 20, 19, 18, 17. I don't see any bubbling yet. Now I'm putting my nose closer to the area where the heating is going on. There's a fingerprint or some glue there right over top of the element. And we're at 0 now. I'm going to pull that out and try to bend it. No luck. No luck. All right. So we're going to go to 1 minute even. So no such chance. Now this thing is running, the door is open, it's about, I don't know, 70 degrees in here. There's a slight breeze, but that's not a big deal. We're going to slide in the plastic to a certain spot, and then we're going to hit start. We're at 1 minute now, and we're going to try it again. And this is how you learn how to bend polycarbonate. Now, there's a break here. This big metal piece, that is to bend plastics without the heat. That's really important. So this is a cold break and a hot break. I watched a lot of videos of people making these things, and they didn't really understand how to center the heating element. Just grab a stick. You know, this is a stick from my kitchen, and some fiberglass. So here's the fiberglass, here's the stick, and you break off little pieces and you start stuffing them under the hinge, some above, some below, and eventually you'll get the heating elements centered in the right spot. So we're at 3, 2, 1. Now I'm just starting to see bubbling on the corner. That's great. Can I bend it? No. It certainly is hot. So it's not a minute, but there's some deformation. Okay, there's a bubble there, and a bubble there, and some deformation. So it's a little bit more than a minute. So we're going to go 1 minute, 10 seconds, and we're going to try again. This time I'm going to mark where the bend is, so that's going to help a little bit. I'm going to use some pencil. I don't think graphite is going to burn. And there's the other end. So that should help me identify where the bend is taking place. Remember, graphite won't burn. Ready, set, back into the bender. Start. Now we're at 1 minute and 10 seconds with the unit running steadily. So you have to remember, you know, what are the room conditions? Is it 65 degrees in the room? Is it 70 degrees in the room? Is it a hot summer day? Is it a cool autumn day? You must know these things. And then, all that being said, you have to pay attention to your time. Watch the plexiglass. I'm staring at it using the light from above, watching for bubbles, watching for heat coming off the corners. So you're going to see this deform and that deform over there. You're going to see a bubble appear, maybe 2. 1 or 2 bubbles of off-gassing is pretty acceptable as long as you can bend the piece. If it gets bad, you're going to see a lot of bubbles, and you will have wrecked the piece at that point. So I'm still watching for deformations using the reflection of the light. Stop, pull it, bend it. Oh, look at that. Yeah, but I wasn't fast enough to get a full 90 degree. So I've got a time for it, which is about 1 minute, 10 seconds. And that's a hot bend. You know, that's great for a test piece. There's a little bubbling here on the end and a little bubbling here on the other end. But that's pretty accurate for time to bend. 1 minute, 10 seconds. Now, I've got some gloves on. without the glove, okay, my thumb here, that's pretty hot. I have to maybe dissolve that with some solvent, but that's just some glue that got on there. But that's a clean bend on a test piece. That's really good. I'm going to shut the unit off for now that I know how long it takes to bend, and I've got some of the techniques down. This is great. Now, how do I shut it off? Pull one of the clips, and then go over to the power source, power strip, and unplug it. And the light is still going on the power supply over here on the right. That light's going to take a little while to dim. So that power supply over there is still putting out some power. I want to show you this. This is warm and unplugged, and it still has power. Isn't that something? I'm going to show you the plug. So look at this. That's the plug. And it still is showing power. Power supplies have capacitors in them and coils, and that allows the unit to store energy while it's unplugged. So don't go poking around in there with nails. It could be enough to knock you down, so don't mess with that. Keep this out of reach of children, and you'll be pretty safe with it. To align the heating element perfectly, stuff small pieces of insulation around the heating element to fill the gap under the hinge. That way the heating element never touches the hinge, and if you jostle the brake, it won't jostle the heating element and cause a short. I have to glue this shield here down. I don't want it to touch the central bar or this piece here. These pieces have to be separate from the rest of it. For now, the current runs from here into the heating element and across. If for some reason this plate or these plates touched the center area, and for some reason this over here touched, then I'd have a complete short and I might blow out my power supply. So you're going to see some gaps at either end. There's a gap over here right there. There's a gap over here right here. That's going to prevent a short. The terminals at either end are simply these clips. They're very similar to battery cable clips. They're stolen from a battery charger. All I did was I used lamp cord, which is more than enough to carry the current, DC current that I'm using, which is anywhere from 20 to 30 volts. I just found a voltage setting that worked for me by simply turning the knob here. I used an old computer cord which had 3 wires, so I just cut the end of it off and screwed it in, and that goes all the way over here to the plug, which goes into the wall. So this is actually pretty simple and a lot of fun to make, and I hope everybody tries it. The power supply is an LRS 150-24, and it takes 120 or 220, okay, so US or European current. There's a switch on the side here that's hidden behind the frame. You can just use a toothpick to switch that from 115 to 220. I believe that's how it's labeled. 230, I think. 115 to 230. Now, house current here is 120. People argue that it's 115 sometimes, but it's somewhere between 115 and 125 or so, mostly. So we're going to use the 115 setting on it, and we're going to use a computer cord and a lamp cord. The computer cord supplies the AC, the lamp cord supplies the DC. So there it is, my first 2 bends using my polycarbonate hot bender. The time to bend is 1 minute and 10 seconds, and the room temperature is about 70 degrees. I would go for about 65 to 70. So there we are. Hey, success! Thank you for watching the World's Dirtiest Workshop and Rider of the Storm. Have a great day.
B-N-D-E-R, bender.